Let's look at number 55 here. And notice they give me the center, which is really going to be my h and my k here in my equation of a circle. And they give me a point on the circle. Now you have to remember or realize that the radius is the distance from the center to a point on the circle. So I can think about my equation, and I already really know the first part of my equation here. This is going to be x minus the h, or my x value of the center, squared, plus y minus a negative 6, which is really going to be y plus 6. We just need to figure this out. And we're going to do that with the distance formula. Because the distance from this coordinate to this coordinate, center to a point on the circle, is going to be my radius. So I need to do my distance formula that was the beginning of this, or that was at the beginning of this section. So I'm going to take x2, 2 minus 10, I'm going to square it, plus my y2, which is negative 10, and then minus a negative 6, so you need to be careful with signs there. So this is the square root of negative 8 squared. 2 minus 10 is negative 8. And then here, this becomes plus. So negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4 squared. That equals the square root of 64. Negative 8 squared is 64. Plus negative 4 squared is 16. So this ends up being the square root of 80. Now, if we were just saying find the distance between those 2 points, I would have to put that in simplified radical form, break 80 down. I'm going to show you a little shortcut. This is what my radius is now. So if my radius is square root of 80, think about what we need in the circle formula. We need the radius squared there. So if I square the square root of 80, it just cancels out the square root, and that's 80. So whatever I end up with underneath the square root here is really going to be what goes right there. So this would be my equation of the circle. Okay, problem gets a little more involved. And we're going to go to number 65 here. This is when they give me the endpoints of the diameter. So if you think about the endpoints of the diameter, diameter is all the way across the circle. So that was diameter. Now we need the center and we need the radius. Okay, so I need to do the center. That is, to find the center, I'm going to do the midpoint formula. So I'm going to do between these two. So 14 plus 4 divide by 2, 0 plus 0 divide by 2. So this would be 18 divided by 2 or 9, 0 divided by 2 or 0. So there's my center of my circle. So that does tell me it's going to be x minus 9 squared plus y minus 0 squared. We need to now figure out our radius squared right here. Okay, the radius goes from the center to a point on the circle, like the last problem that I did. So I'm going to take the distance from the center to one of the original points. So to one of the points. Does not matter which one I choose. So I'm going to do the distance between my center of 9, 0, and I'm going to choose my second point of 4, 0. So if I do the distance formula, it's the square root of 4 minus 9 squared, x2 minus x1 squared, plus 0 minus 0 squared. So this is the square root of negative 5 squared plus 0 squared, which is the square root of 25 plus 0. I'm going to come over here, that's the square root of 25. Okay, now remember, the square root of 25 is 5, but then we need to put the radius squared in here, so really it ends up being that number that's under the square root. So this would be 25. And I would actually like you to not write this as y minus 0 squared, so we're going to have x minus 9 squared plus y squared equals 25 would be the best way to write that answer.